Quantifier plus de particle. 皆さんこんにちは、たかしです。Today we're going to learn how to use the de particle with a quantifier. First, what's a quantifier? A quantifier is a word that shows quantity, like how much or how many of something there is. For example, 3つ、5時間、12枚、少し。And we use the de particle with a quantifier to specify the quantity. The core function of de here is to set a boundary or limit. Let's look at examples. 3 apples cost 300 yen. In Japanese is リンゴは3つで300円です。3つで300円です。The de particle sets a boundary and groups the 3 apples together as one unit. I bought an onigiri for 120 yen. おにぎりを120円で買いました。120円でおにぎりを買いました。Very easy, right? But actually, this usage of the de particle is really tricky. Now let's look at these two sentences. 3 apples are enough, and 3 apples are necessary. Let's say you're trying to make an apple pie, and how to say these sentences in Japanese. 3 apples are enough. リンゴは3つで十分です。3つで十分です。This is correct. 3 apples are necessary. リンゴは3つで必要です。3つで必要です。This is actually wrong. The de particle is not needed. The correct sentence is リンゴは3つ必要です without de. Why? Because there is no need to set this boundary. These 3 apples don't need to be grouped together as a single unit. Let me explain why. With the word enough, if you take 1 apple away, you're left with 2 apples. And 2 apples are not enough, let alone 1 apple. Only when there are 3 apples can you say it's enough. How about the word necessary? Even if 1 apple is taken away, the remaining 2 apples are still necessary, right? Even if there is only 1 apple, that apple is still necessary. That's because when you say 3 apples are necessary, you mean each one of these 3 apples is necessary. So this boundary is not needed. While you can say each one of the 3 apples is necessary, you cannot say each one of these 3 apples is enough. It's enough only when there are 3 apples. So we say リンゴは3つで十分です。This boundary serves a purpose. Alright, let's look at the earlier example again. リンゴは3つで300円です。3 apples cost 300 yen. Here, this de is needed because you're not saying each of these 3 apples is 300 yen. No, you're saying 3 apples together cost 300 yen. So, 3つで300円です。Now let's say there are 5 apples in front of you. And if you say, リンゴは全部で300円です。全部 means all, by the way. This sentence means it's 300 yen for all the apples. 300 yen is the total price. 全部で300円です。But if you remove this de and say, リンゴは全部300円です。Then it means each apple costs 300 yen. So it means all the apples are 300 yen each. The meaning is completely different. Alright, next. Let's say you're holding an onigiri and your friend asks, そのおにぎりはいくらでしたか? How much was that onigiri? To say, I bought it for 120 yen, you say, 120円で買いました. But to say, I paid 120 yen, you say, 120円払いました without de. Because it's the same reason. This boundary is needed, but this boundary is not needed. When you say I paid 120 yen, That means you paid every single yen of that 120 yen. The action of paying applies to each yen individually. But that's not the case with the action of buying. You can't divide 120 yen and say that you perform the action of buying for each yen. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. What happened is you paid 120 yen and bought an onigiri. So we say 120円で買いました. Now I'm going off topic for a moment. Some of you might be thinking, what about 120円を払いました? Because 120円 here is the object, shouldn't you mark with the お particle? Yes, you can say 120円を払いました. However, in Japanese, quantifiers can be used as an adverb. So this 120円 is used as a noun. But this 120円 is used as an adverb. And this sentence is more common. I ate 2 apples. 2個のリンゴを食べました. This is fine. But more commonly, リンゴを2個食べました. And because this 2個 is used as an adverb, you can also move it to the front of the sentence. 2個リンゴを食べました. I have 3 sisters. 3人の姉がいます. This is perfectly fine, but more commonly, 姉が3人います. Or 3人姉がいます. But anyway, let's go back to the de particle, the main point of this video. Let's look at more examples. Let's say someone asks, 家から東京までどれくらいかかりますか? How long does it take from your house to Tokyo? If you want to say, I can go to Tokyo in 30 minutes, you say 30分で行けます. If you want to say it takes 30 minutes, you say 30分かかります without で. Because when you say it takes 30 minutes, it takes every single second of those 30 minutes. The verb take applies to every second of it. But with 30分で行けます can go, each second of the 30 minutes, I can go. What's that even mean? It doesn't make sense. What you're really saying is, if I have 30 minutes, then I can go to Tokyo. So you should say, 30分で行けます. Now let's move on to something a bit more advanced. Take a look at these 2 sentences. 1時間で宿題をしました. 1時間宿題をしました. Which one do you think is correct? The answer is, actually, both are grammatically correct, but their meanings are very different. 1時間で宿題をしました means I did the homework in 1 hour. I finished my homework within 1 hour. 1時間宿題をしました means I did the homework for 1 hour. I spent 1 hour doing the homework. It doesn't specify whether the homework was finished or not. It only means the action continued for an hour. The verb 宿題をする to do homework is an action that is durative and telic at the same time. It's durative, which means the action continues over time rather than happening instantaneously. And it's telic, which means the action has a clear and natural goal. When we use these durative and telic verbs, depending on the context, the emphasis can be either on the process of the action or on the completion of the action. For example, when someone just says, 宿題をしました, I did my homework, this could mean they finished all of it. Or they just spent time doing homework, but didn't finish, right? But verbs like 買う, buy, are telic, but not durative. So, おにぎりを買いました. I bought an onigiri, for example, always implies the action was completed. But verbs like 待つ, wait, are durative, but not telic. So, 待ちました, I waited, always focuses on the process of the action, not the completion of the action. But again, 宿題をする is both durative and telic. And when you use those durative and telic verbs with the time duration quantifier, such as 1時間, 1 hour, the particle de is needed if the focus is on the completion of the action, and de is not needed if the focus is on the process of the action. 1時間宿題をしました. I spent each second of the 1 hour doing homework. The action continued for 1 hour. 1時間で宿題をしました. Every second of the 1 hour, I finished doing my homework. No, this doesn't make sense. Using 1 hour, I finished the homework. So you should say, 1時間で宿題をしました. So, to sum it up, when durative and telic actions are used with a time duration, they can mean two different things. Time duration de action means the action was completed within that time duration. Time duration plus action without de means the action continued for that time duration. 3時間で本を読みました. I finished reading the book in 3 hours. 3時間本を読みました. I read the book for 3 hours. Lastly, let's look at these two sentences. 3人で来ました. 3人来ました. 3人来ました just means 3 people came. Each of the 3 people came. It focuses on a number of people, not how they came. They might have arrived separately, or they might have come together. We don't know. But 3人で来ました means 3 people came together as a group. So if someone asks, 昨日のパーティーは何人来ましたか? How many people came to yesterday's party? For example, you should say 3人来ました. 3人来ました. If someone asks, 一人で日本に来ましたか? Did you come to Japan by yourself? You should say, いえ、3人で来ました. No, I came as a group of 3. So basically, I came here with 2 other people. You could also say, 友達と3人で来ました. I came here with 2 other friends. 私は姉が2人います. I have 2 older sisters. 彼女たちはとても仲が良くて、they are very close to each other and いつも2人でいます. They are always together. Alright, that's it for today. 今日は以上です。ちょっとこのビデオを作るのに時間がかかってしまってすいません。ちょっとうまく説明する方法がなかなかまとまらなくて時間がかかってしまいました。皆さんいつも僕の動画を見てくれて本当にありがとうございます。じゃあまた次のビデオで会いましょう。じゃあまたね。バイバイ。